Hello and welcome to MVP Hot Seat with Ibrahim Abobu. We are pleased to welcome Dr. Stephen Yamoah, who is the Executive Director of Nuclear Power Ghana, NPG, the owner-operator organization responsible for nuclear power project development in Ghana. A scientist by profession, Dr. Yamoah brings over 2 decades of experience in research, development, and academic roles. Notably, he has played a pivotal role in shaping Ghana's energy landscape, having served on the Energy Infrastructure Committee of Ghana's ambitious 40-year National Infrastructure Plan, a project undertaken by the National Development Planning Commission of Ghana. Welcome, Stephen. It's a great pleasure to host you today. We eagerly anticipate the insights you will share with us during our conversation.
Thank you, Ibrahim, for having me today.
It's our pleasure. My first question is, what developments can we expect from Ghana nuclear sector in the next 12 months?
Thank you. So for, the information of the international community, Ghana is in phase 2 of the nuclear program activity. And as a project organization, our focus has been on the project development activities, notably the issue of siting, the issue of technology, vendor, the issue of capacity building for our staff, issue of stakeholder and community engagements. So our focus has been to systematically follow through with the agency developmental approach and also working with the International Atomic Energy Agency and other international bodies to ensure that we, systematically develop our program to the point where we are ready for construction. That will be in phase 3. So we expect to continue with our site studies, having identified a preferred and backup sites, and also expect to, continue more deeper engagement with the various vendors, on the technology and then the vendor. And there are other things that also go along with it, capacity development workshops, that we organize with the International Atomic Energy Agency. And of course, touching base with other institutions and stakeholders in the country to ensure that the support that we have received so far with our nuclear power program continue to grow and expand it by providing these various stakeholders with information and also addressing their issues and concerns so that we all take informed decision on Ghana's nuclear power agenda. So I would say it's more of continuing with our phase 2 developmental approach.
Indeed. And on the same pattern, what are some of the focus areas of NPG currently at the moment? Can you please elaborate on that?
Yes, so for NPG, we have 4 thematic focus areas that are designed to accommodate all necessary infrastructure issues as outlined by the International Atomic Energy Agency. So we have the focus area on vendor and technology, which we have done a lot in terms of the engagement when we issue the request for information and the follow-up. And then there's been subsequent direct engagement with identified vendors with respect to the technology, also discussing the financing issues, how to finance the project, making sure that it is mutually beneficial to Ghana and to the vendor country. So that is one developmental area that we have been pursuing and continue to do more deeper to ensure that we, as a matter of necessity, are able to have a clarity on the direction with respect to vendor and technology. Then the other focus area is with respect to our sites, okay? Having identified the preferred and the backup sites, the next phase that we are embarking on will be to do a detailed site characterization study that will also include environmental impact assessment study and also the issue of site acquisition, making sure that the site will be ready for construction. So currently we're developing a couple of support processes and documentations that will aid in terms of the site characterization study. NPG is not going to take this exercise by ourselves. We're going to outsource it, but we will outsource it knowledgeably, making sure that we are able to define all the necessary and important elements that should go into such a study so that it will meet both regulatory and international standards. Linked to this is also the issue of the transmission study, a detailed transmission study to ensure that our transmission network will be strong and robust, safe enough to evacuate the power. The other area is also about ensuring that there is a continuous community support, especially at the communities where we have the sites. So this is very important. And we make sure that we continue to engage them, both the general community, the chiefs, and the people, to continue to inform them and to seek their support for the program. The media is very, very key to us. They've been supporting us. And this time around, we even want to move, the engagement, further by going beyond Accra, which is the capital, to the region where we have the site, okay, and making sure that we take the nuclear to the region by ourselves, by engaging the media within the region so that they can also help us in terms of translating the various information to their local languages that will get much closer to the people in the area. And of course, also with the issue of industry is another area that is also focused on making sure that our industry is ready to participate, for the benefit of the country and for the project. So these are some of the areas that we focus on currently.
Thanks for sharing. And it is all the elements that you mentioned are very important, and an element that many countries think that it's not very important, but it's crucial, is community engagement, either directly or through the media, as you mentioned. And it's something that really need to be dealt with. And also you mentioned siting. I believe you have identified 2 sites, as you mentioned, one site and one backup site. Are you allowed to share the location and name of the sites, or it's still confidential for the moment?
So specifically, the site is along the coast.
Mhm.
But I can say that, and it's also it's in two different regions, not in the capital. One is in the western region of Ghana, and the other is in the central region of Ghana. So these are the areas that we have identified our preferred and backup sites.
I see. I see. Thank you. And my last question is, what type of international stakeholders would you like to see participating in Africa MVP this May in Accra?
I think that there are four main stakeholders that, in my view, I am looking forward to meeting them. One group of stakeholders is the vendors, the technology developers. Is very important. Without them, there is no nuclear development. So we want to see the vendors. We want to see their plans, how they intend to integrate, their skills with typical developing country in Africa for a nuclear project. So I want to see the vendors um, and the nuclear business platform. I also want to see the regulatory bodies. Okay, that is also very important. Nuclear is strong with strong regulatory body. A weak regulatory body will make nuclear weaker, and therefore it is also important that at this early stage there is some sort of involvement of the regulatory bodies in terms of interfacing and how partnerships, and knowledge sharing can be enhanced to support regulatory infrastructure development um, in Africa in particular, because this is a new area, and independence of the regulatory body is not necessarily about the fact that they belong to different ministries or reporting to different authorities. But in my opinion, independence is more about the competency of the regulatory body to make informed decisions and provide guidelines and all of that, and the authority to take, technical and knowledgeable decisions that will improve on safety of the nuclear industry. So I want to see the regulatory authorities there. Also, technical and scientific support organizations. This is also crop of industry that I look forward to see in May in Accra, in a way that can also establish partnership with both the regulatory bodies, both the owner operator organizations, but also with industries, in a way that partnerships can be arranged where local industry can partner with a foreign industry to provide some sort of services for a nuclear industry in the country, and also in a way that some skills and knowledge transfer can be achieved as part of the partnership. And then probably the type of industries that more or less probably similar to TSOs, but those that can also provide some capacity development, capacity building, training kind of industries. I'm not talking about educational training, but hands-on practical, kind of training that can be provided to the young scientists on the continent who are leading the nuclear program in their respective countries. And we believe that with these four kind of industry players with good collaboration, good dialogue and with commitment, we can achieve a lot with respect to nuclear industry development in
Indeed.
Africa.
Indeed, and I agree. Thank you once again, Stephen, for these insights. Ghana's nuclear power program stands on the brink of a historic milestone, so it's poised for a transformative year as Ghana nuclear power program grew up to finalize collaborative and implementation agreement with its vendor country for the construction of its inaugural nuclear power plant this year. This pivotal moment this pivotal moment is set to unfold during African Nuclear Business Platform, as we just mentioned that we are expecting many people from the international community to come and share their expertise, their knowledge with Ghanaians, and not only Ghanaians, but also with Africans stakeholders that will be participating. So let's seize this opportunity to witness history in the making, and propel Ghana's nuclear ambition forward together. For our YouTube viewers, feel free to leave your comments on the box below. Stay tuned for the next episode of MVP Hot Seat. Stephen, once again, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ibrahim.